Hi everyone, today let's talk about small business owners in regional Queensland and how they can apply for the 491 visa. Now, the most important part of this is that it's still a 491 visa. So you still need to score points on your expression of interest and you still need to have a valid skills assessment in an eligible occupation. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tracy Chen and I'm an immigration lawyer based in Australia. We have fantastic lawyers and agents across all states in Australia. So if you want to get in contact with myself or one of our agents or lawyers, our contact details are below. You just need to submit a query and we will send you some more information. It is currently the 25th of September 2023 and we're still waiting for some states to open up, i.e. New South Wales and South Australia and Northern Territory. But Queensland has opened and they have announced all their new eligibility requirements. So today let's focus on small business owners in regional Queensland. This is only for onshore applicants, so you must be living in regional Queensland at the time that you apply. And it's important to note there's a lot of suburbs that is considered regional Queensland that are actually not too far away from Brisbane. I'll drop a link below for the regional postcodes as well so you guys can have a look at, but there's heaps of postcodes so you can go ahead and pick whichever one is best for you and the business that you want to run. So first of all, you must have a valid skills assessment in an eligible occupation and you can look at the legislative instrument LIN 19051. So as long as you have a positive skills assessment in this occupation, you have full-time work rights and you must currently not be studying, then you can apply under this stream if you live in regional Queensland. There are some requirements for running the business as well, so we will go through that. So there are two main pathways. So pathway 1, you must purchase an existing registered business for a minimum of $100,000 and you must employ at least one Australian permanent resident or citizen. What's really important here is that you must be purchasing a pre-existing business and then you must trade the business for at least 6 months before you lodge your expression of interest to Queensland. The second pathway is that you can start up a business and you must run it continuously for the last 2 years. It must be run for a minimum of 2 years and it must be generating a profit and have a revenue, a turnover of at least $200,000 in the 12 months before making an application. So for this one, there's no minimum capital that you must invest, but you must be living and working in regional Queensland, running the business for a minimum of 2 years, and you must be generating a profit. It doesn't say how much the profit needs to be, but the revenue must be at least $200,000 in the 12 months before your application. You'll need to make sure that you have a bit of a team here to help you get this done. You'll need an accountant, you need a migration lawyer, and you'll need a commercial lawyer because all three have very different areas of specialty and they'll need to make sure that you meet all the requirements. Now let's go deeper into all the exact requirements. You'll need to score at least 65 points or higher, but do remember you get an extra 15 points from state nomination. You'll need to have a positive and valid skills assessment in your nominated occupation from the occupation list, so you just need to check out the legislative instrument. You'll need to be under 45 years of age and you'll need to have at least competent English, unless it's required by your skills assessing authority to have a higher level of English. For example, if you are an accountant and you're trying to obtain your skills assessment, then you do need to have at least proficient English, which is equivalent to 65 each in PTE or 7 each in academic IELTS. And that has nothing to do with the EOI, but because you need that for the skills assessment, then you'd be obviously using that for your expression of interest. So let's have a deeper look at pathway 1. Once you've already got your positive skills assessment, you must provide evidence that you're living in regional Queensland. You need to provide evidence that you're working full-time for the business, at least 30 hours per week. So that's why you'll need to have a visa that allows you to work full-time. Otherwise, if you have a student visa, then you can't provide evidence that you've been working at least 30 hours per week on that business. You'll need to provide evidence that you hold 100% ownership of the business. Partnerships or joint ventures are not eligible, and you must own and operate that business in regional Queensland. Now, I would like to mention that those broad requirements that I just mentioned applies to pathway 1 and pathway 2. Now, let's have a look at some of the additional requirements for pathway 1. You must have purchased a business that's been operating for a minimum of 2 years in its current location before you actually purchase the business. The business needs to cost a minimum of $100,000 and you'll need to provide evidence that you purchased it for that price. Now, you yourself will need to be operating the business for at least 6 months before you lodge your expression of interest. So you need to purchase the business, settle the business, operate it for 6 months before you are eligible to lodge your expression of interest. And it's important to note that that operation period doesn't start until 100% of the business purchase is settled. You will also need to hire an Australian permanent resident or citizen working 20 hours a week in your business, or you can hire 2 employees or working 10 hours per week. Now, they must be employed, they can't be subcontractors, and they cannot be family members. So that's the additional requirements for Pathway 1 on top of the previous requirements that I just mentioned. For Pathway 2, it's a little bit different. So you're starting up the business from scratch. You must have been operating that startup for a minimum of 2 years, and it has to have a turnover of $200,000 in the 12 months prior. And it's important to note that you also need to have a profit in that business. It must be showing a profit. There's no minimum amount though. A couple more important things for this visa application. Firstly, no share transfer. It must be a contract of a business sale. You cannot finance to purchase the business. You must buy it with $100,000 cash. You can't purchase it from a family member or a relative. You can't purchase the business from a previous 491 small business applicant. So you can't really recycle the business. It can't be a home-based or virtual office. They won't accept commission agents or leasing agents off franchises. So for example, petrol stations are not going to be considered. And then once they are nominated and once the visa is granted, they must continue to operate that business in regional Queensland for at least 3 years. If the applicant chooses to sell the business before they're eligible for the 191 or don't fulfill the full 3 years, then Queensland will have the option to withdraw the nomination. Overall, I would say this is a pretty good visa option, especially if it's for people who really do have an interest in business, really do want to open a business in regional Queensland. Their current occupation and migration pathway might be tough due to competition, or they can't score as high points. This one is pretty good in terms of receiving an invitation. I definitely think people who really do want to run a business, this is a great option. And regional Queensland, there's heaps of places. There's the Gold Coast, there's the Sunshine Coast, there's places with a lot of business activity there. But as I mentioned, you do need a whole team for this one. So you need your migration lawyer, you need your commercial lawyer, and you need your accountant to help you out with this. I hope you guys find this video helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with people who need it. As the states continue to open up and update the eligibility requirements, I'll be updating these on this YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.